Okay, I've had a couple people ask me about this month's block. It's called Hawaiian Snowflakes, and so the question was, what makes it Hawaiian? The only reason it's named that is that it sort of resembles Hawaiian style applique. A Hawaiian style applique would look sort of similar to this one, where you would have one piece of cloth cut into a design and laid out over a different piece of cloth, and then you turn under all the edges and you carefully needle turn applique this on. So this would be a more traditional style Hawaiian applique block. We are not going to do this. I thought it would be, a lot of people wouldn't be up for doing that. So what we're doing instead is just a similar process, but we're using one that has raw edges to keep it a lot more simple. But do keep in mind, you will be stitching on your sewing machine around this whole entire every single edge, so you want to keep it fairly simple. This is one of those few cases where the internet is not your friend. If you go and find a beautiful template that you love that's very detailed and elegant, you're going to run into trouble right away because it's going to be too difficult to cut out in fabric. And then when you get ready to sew it, you're going to be really frustrated at how long it takes you to go around all the details. So try to remember to keep it fairly simple. After it gets washed, the edges will fray a little bit because we're stitching in just about an 1/8 inch from the edge, and so they'll fray just a little bit like that, which I think is kind of a fun look. Try to channel your inner kindergartner here. We're not trying to get really super fancy. Just use an ordinary sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper to make a square. Fold it like so, diagonally. If I had my glasses on, I can see what I was doing better, but hopefully this would be good enough. Cut off that, and ta! Now you have a square. So then just go ahead and fold it one more time, and probably one more time after that, and you're ready to start your design. Now, some people feel that since snowflakes have 6 points, then you need to have a 6-pointed design. If that's you, you are welcome to do that. You just would need to fold it into 6 points the way the pattern that I passed out shows you. But I really think that it looks more like the Hawaiian style applique to go without the 6 points. So that's why I just went ahead and folded it in half again and half again. Okay, so now you have your little piece of paper. This is the raw edges up here. These are all folded edges. And just go ahead and take a pair of scissors and cut out a design. You can cut in from either of the folded sides. Just be really careful not to cut all the way across at any point, or you just chopped your snowflake in half and it's ruined. I kind of like to cut the tip off because I think that having an open center is cool. So, I mean, you can do this any way you want. I did a design, you can do circles. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just cut in kind of a curve on this side. You can make it however random you want. Just don't go all the way through, ever, or you're in trouble. Okay, so I'm just doing a curve there. And I don't know, I think I'll do like a little heart, like if you were making Valentine's. I'm going to cut a heart shape out here. Okay, let's see, maybe kind of some wavy lines. Just have fun. Channel your kindergarten days. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to. And I don't think I'm going to be tempted to get too fancy because I just have a pair of scissors and a piece of paper here. And if I were trying to use a template I found online, might be too tempting. I think I'm going to go ahead and make this tip look a little bit more fancy. So I'm going to make it be a little more like a point. And maybe kind of round knob there. It's not too round, it's okay. Just keep it kind of simple because you're going to have to be sewing around every single bit. Okay, so there, my paper snowflake. I'm going to unfold it and see how it looks. And I would suggest that you do maybe 3 until you feel really comfortable with the process. So see there, I think it's pretty, but it's not really super complicated, and that's your goal. Here are a few other ones that I've done. So you can see kind of the balance that you're aiming for with not too complicated. This is actually one that I did that has 6 points, and if you do 6 points, you're going to have a smaller snowflake just because of the way that you have to trim it before you cut it into 6 points. But some people really like the look of the 6-point one, and so you're welcome to do that if you want to. Okay. When you are pretty happy, you found a design that you like, then just take your 8-inch square of 8-inch or 8.5-inch, whichever says in the pattern, your square of white fabric, and fold it exactly the way that you just did the paper. So I'm going to go corner to corner, diagonally, do it the other way, and I'm going to do it this way. And you may be thinking, I'm not sure I can cut through all those layers. You can. If you have a sharp pair of fabric scissors and you don't get too carried away and too complicated, you can do it, I promise. If you've done some practice ones and you feel confident, just jump in there and just cut your design exactly the way you did it with paper, except now you're doing it with fabric. But I know some people might not feel totally comfortable doing that. So a different option that you can do is you can pick out your favorite design. So let's see, I'm going to go with this one that I just made for you guys. I'm just going to cut out a wedge. I can see the fold lines where I had it folded. See? And I'm just going to cut on those lines and just cut out one wedge. I'm not laying it out flat. That gets too complicated. I'm not using heat and bond. That would get way too thick and you wouldn't be able to cut it. Okay, I just have my one little wedge just the way it was originally. And what you can do is you can lay this down over your fabric, get a pencil and just trace around where the openings were, and then you will be guaranteed you're going to know what it looks like in the end because you had already made it in paper. So when you're finished, this is paper, but I'm going to pretend that it's my fabric one. Then what you do is you can see the lines on there where you folded it, and you use that for placement. With small ones, it's really simple. If you were doing an actual Hawaiian style quilt and it was really large, it'd be a lot more complicated. So what you do is you take your background square and you fold it in half and in half, and kind of pinch the folds so that they'll show up. Don't iron it because you don't want it to be there forever, but so that you can use it for placement guides. Then you can see where those lines were, and you can use that to get this centered. There'll be a little where the lines are come together in the center, so that you can get it on there exactly the way that you want. So as far as keeping it on there, I didn't use heat and bond because I didn't want it so thick you couldn't cut through it. So just take some kind of glue that's washable. Probably not a glue stick because that's not fun to sew through, but just some kind of glue that's washable. Take your snowflake and just put little dots in the center here and there, not very many, just one little dot here and there in the center. And then when you put it on there, again, this is paper, but if it were your fabric one, you get it centered exactly, and then you just push down and the glue will hold it in place. If you feel more comfortable, you could take a needle and thread and just run basting stitches along it. I like the glue because it's easier, and if you use tiny dots, you don't have to worry about sewing through it. It'll just be in the middle anyway. Okay, so as you're sewing, what you want to do is stitch in about an 1/8 inch from the edge. I would go a generous 1/8 inch because you want it to come unraveled just a little bit around the edges, but you don't want it to come unraveled too far. So make your stitch length a little bit shorter than what you normally use, and then just stitch all the way around it. And this is where it gets complicated. So this is why you didn't want too complicated of a design to start with. What you'll need to do is just sew very slowly and carefully. And when you come to a corner like this, you'll just want to stop the machine with your needle down, lift up the presser foot. Go ahead and turn my stitch length down quite a bit, because I want my stitches to be small enough that it won't come unraveled too much since we're using raw edges. Okay, I'm going to put it in so that it's just a generous 1/8 inch from the edge, so it'll have a little space to ravel. And just sew slowly and carefully, and when you come to a place like this, you're going to want to stop with a needle down and pivot. I'll show you. Okay, so probably right there, the needle's down, I lift the presser foot, and I can just turn it just a little bit. Lift the presser foot, turn. Let's do it down, okay. And so it's going to be a little slow and tedious to do it, but this is the last step, and it'll be finished. Okay, so there, again, just go slowly, and whenever you need to, stop, pivot.
getting a little too close to the edge. And if you use that technique, and just don't go too fast, just take your time, and that's how you finish it off.
There you have it, a midwinter project. I think this would be super fun to do with your kids when they were home for Christmas break from school, or if your grandkids are visiting, just have them make some paper snowflakes for you, and then you could make a whole quilt preserving their snowflakes for posterity. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it.